Fingers are precious and deserve protection. Adding rings to swords was a good direction. As armor faded but swords were still used, complex guards kept your hands from being bloodied and bruised. Hello again, friends. Laura back with you, and oh, it is hot. It's hot in the house. It's hot outside here in Calgary this week. We are over 30 degrees Celsius. So around 90 Fahrenheit. That's hot for us. And we're not even at official summer yet, so it'll probably be a long, hot summer. I didn't want to do any filming outside, even though it's nice. The laptop is not going to like the heat out there in the sunshine out in the garden. So a quick little video today, because we're going to talk about what today we call the side sword. So this is a black fencer side sword in steel. It is a quick and nimble sword, but most importantly I want to talk about this lovely metalwork that makes up the complex hilt. The guard of the sword has lots of pieces to it. Now we know on our standard medieval sword we have a cross guard, and of course the quillins started to get longer, adding hand protection. But in the Middle Ages, even when we had cannons and siege warfare and things like that, plate armor, protection. As you get better armor, shields get smaller, you don't rely on the shield as much, and then the shield goes away. And if you are using gauntlets, you have the guard of the sword to help catch the opposing blade, sure, but you don't need as much hand protection. But as we get to the 16th century, well, into the mid to late 15th century, look, we have examples of the messer, the nagel. We've got that sidebar as the guard, it's a nail there. But we get into the 16th century, we start to get all of these pieces. So, we have a knuckle bow to protect the knuckles, long quillins to help catch opposing blades. We have a side ring. There we go. Look at that side ring. Help catch these opposing blades. It's got little bars on the other side. And, of course, finger rings, because we can now grip ahead of the quillin, and this allows us a lot more precision, a lot more control with the tip of the blade. So we start to do cuts and thrusts, so we have a lot more thrusting ability. Now, armor is changing. We still have armor used in the 16th century through the Renaissance period of Europe, as we call it. This is a very European perspective video, of course. Yeah, there we go. Now, one drawback of having swords with these fittings is pretty much this is a right-handed sword. I couldn't switch to my left hand if I wanted, and if I were left-handed, I'd have to have it built reversed. The other thing is, if I damage one edge of the blade, I can't just flip it around and use it, because it's designed to only be held one way. So I can't, unlike our medieval arming sword, double-edged, even though our cut and thrust swords can be double-edged, I can't just flip it around. So it really makes the true and false edge terminology of using the sword important. But we have a lot of fencing manuals from this time. We have Bolognese side sword tradition. In fact, it's kind of our modern take of calling this side sword. It comes from Italian, spada da latte, lato. I can't remember it exactly. It means sword of the side. Side sword. Although we could also call it cut and thrust sword. But really, they would have just called it sword, because it's a sword. And we have to classify them with names because we are looking back at over 1,000 years, 2,000 years, more thousands and thousands of years than we can think of. But at the time, a style of sword was just a sword, because this would be common. In an area, everyone would have a sword similarly made to this. There'll be slight differences because everyone who's forging the guard, the hilt parts for the sword, is going to make them differently. Their own unique style, I guess, but they're all going to be extremely similar, and so this would just be the sword of the time, the proper fashion. There we go. So yes, it's nimble, it's quick, and this black fencer one in particular, I really like it. It is really nice to train with. I'm not the biggest expert on using cut and thrust 16th century style swords, but we did train a little bit of it in our old club, which we don't talk about, and it is a lot of fun, but it is quick, it's nimble. This is a good sword, it's got some good flex in the blade. And yeah, so this is something that I have enjoyed using over the last couple of weeks since I picked it up. And should I be saving the money to buy armor pieces? Probably, but that's fine. Anyway, I just want to do a quick video today, because we should do a video. It's Friday, but it's hot. So this is quick. And now the video, well, there we go. So I just want to say, in the 16th century, this is when we start to get these complex parts to swords. We've seen the rapier, more complex. Sabers, you know, big, almost to the 19th and into the early 20th century. We have these nice shell guards that really protect the hand. But you can't use a gauntlet with this sword. Whether it's mitten or even fingered, it's really difficult. It doesn't really fit that well. So, we can see change. So yeah, on the battlefield, we may not be using as many parts of armor. Certainly for jousts, you know, they have lovely, beautiful plate harness for the jousting. The armor is fantastic, all-encompassing, and the foot combats and all the things they do. On the battlefield, things are changing because we're getting more firearms. They're developing. We're going from the matchlock and the simple arquebus style, where we're just taking a little burning piece of rope and setting it off. We're getting fancier firearms. Armor is changing. Maybe you're wearing a big heavy breastplate, your cuirass, it's pretty thick to stop those shots, but you know, if it's gonna hit you in the arm, even if you have the thickness that you would need, it's becoming impractical. So sword styles change. So you're not wearing as much armor on your arms or legs. You're starting to add pieces to protect your hands on the sword. So it's an evolution. And it looks really good. It's metalwork skill, it's pretty, it's bling, it's a status symbol as much as anything, but swords are more common in this period. And of course, we have lots of good fight manuals to tell us how to use them, which is always exciting. Anyway, friends, that's all for today, because I've got a jerk. It's really hot in here. The venting system in the house, it's not a real air condition, so it doesn't really cool things off as much. So thanks very much, and do remember, like, subscribe, and of course, most importantly, comment. Your comments help shape the content on the channel. What I can talk about is based on what you're interested in, and that means you enjoy the videos more. Anyway, thanks friends. Talk to you again real soon. Stay safe, take care,